Let's talk about ancestral healing because it's such a big focal point for so many of you right now. Sometimes yeah, I'm doing ancestral healing. That's where the work is at. That's why all of the family stuff is coming up for me. And sometimes you're floundering and you're wondering why. Why do I feel such a heaviness, a burden, and a sense of duty, responsibility in the family context? This is ancestral healing. So often we land up taking on the sins of the father. In other words, we land up taking into our emotional repertoire the patterning of all those who have gone before us. And just think about it like this. When I talk about your ancestors, I'm not talking about the pictures on your wall. I'm not talking about the names and the faces you know. I'm talking about the names and the faces beyond any family tree, any record that you have. Your ancestral lineage goes on for eons. And you are the end product, the culmination, and the totality that line produced. So what you're going to feel right now is not just a sense of, man, I'm here for my ascension journey, which is my spiritual awakening, my enlightenment. You're going to have a sense that says, actually, I'm here for something bigger. And sometimes that feels joyful, but a lot of the time that can feel like a heaviness. Like, what if I fail them? What if I let them down? What if I let the family down? So, you know what happens when there's a very strong father? When there's a very strong father figure, very often the son will land up feeling a big sense, a looming sense of inadequacy, fear of failure, because he's competing with the image he has of this very powerful father. We, as the ancestors of so many great ones who've gone before us, think about that. This is not just the history that you know. There is a history. There are great warriors perhaps in your lineage, and something in you will hold perhaps a sense of intimidation, perhaps a sense of, am I worthy? Am I good enough? Can I do this? And yes, of course, there were ancestors in your lineage who were what we would call weaker, less powerful. And I don't say that with judgment. I say that because we will very often look at family members and say, but they're not living up to their potential. And then there's a heaviness that comes onto your shoulders as you recognize, ooh, this is up to me now. So I want to talk to you about the perception of ancestral healing, that it's burdensome. But I also want to talk to you about where these ancestors are, because a lot of people pray to their ancestors. A lot of people hold a sense that their ancestors are out there in the ethers. There they are. Look at your hand. And I mean it, really. Hold your hand up. I teach my children this. I say to them, if ever you want to see your granny and your grandpa and the great granny and grandpa and the great great and the great 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 great, they're there inside your hand. They're inside your molecular structure. And in a sense, you're not just holding hands with this etheric lineage, you are embodying and the embodiment of this ancestral lineage. I want you to be proud of that though. I want you, even if there is foibles and furore in your family and there's fallouts and there's fiery relationships, I want you to please consider that there were also great ones. And conversely, if you have lineage that you long for and that you love, they're there. They're in your hand. Do you see, when you disown family members, because a lot of you will say to me, Kerry, but my whoever, mother, father, step sibling, whoever it is, these people are bad, they're narcissists, they're horrid, so I've stepped away from them, I've rejected them. What have you done at the molecular level, at the energetic level? You've pushed a part of you away. Now, I'm not saying to you that you must go make amends with all your family. If that's not what's in front of you to do right now, then that's not what's in front of you to do. Instead, bring wholeness wholeness back. That's what ancestral healing is about. Ancestral healing is about how can I be a wholeness instead of a fragment, instead of one tiny piece of the chain. How can I be the whole chain, right? So I'm talking about the multiple links in a chain that are the entirety of your lineage. And I want you to really zoom out, and consider, hold on a minute. I'm a starseed. I come from other worlds. And maybe you've been here on planet Earth for thousands of lifetimes. There's still the incredibly likely possibility that you hold star lineage within you. Perhaps it's Syrian, it's Pleiadian. We don't need analysis. Oh, that's a rabbit hole you don't want to go down, because it really is just distraction. And it's the labeling game, and you don't want that. What you're looking for, wholeness. When you come into wholeness within you, you remedy all of the ancestral line. That's really the answer. As you come into wholeness with you, and I'm going to share with you how this looks at the practical level, the impact is a ripple, a glorious ripple that ripples into every cell of your body. So could you imagine one cell, just in your mind's eye, and perhaps you're not very visual, then just feel. People often say to me, oh, Kerry, I can't picture things. That's okay. Just feel then one little cell of your body. And there are trillions, but just imagine or feel one little cell of your body, and it's just whole. It's in its totality. It's in its divinity. And then imagine that one teeny weeny little old cell rippling into all the other cells, kind of like the Mexican wave, right? And every single cell starts harmoniously synchronizing and rippling into each other, this glorious reunion, until the totality of you becomes one wholeness. Then, doesn't stop there. It starts there. It starts with your wholeness. That's where ancestral healing begins. That's where the burden falls off of your shoulders and you go, oh, I'm not responsible for the ones that have come before me, for their greatness and their smallness, for their triumphs and their errors. I'm not responsible for any of that stuff. Instead, in spite of that stuff, I'm here to be the highest version, the truest version, the fullest version of me. One of the reasons why we have these family feuds is because somewhere interwoven into us is the idea, I got to be like them. I got to answer to them. I've got to fall in line with them. And then we rebel against that because something in us will know, but hold on, that doesn't sit well. That's not right for me. The most powerful thing you can do is be the fullest version of you. And I'll tell you, this is difficult. This is difficult because we hold such deep loyalty. Whether we've had the most beautiful relationship with a parent or the worst, we hold a loyalty to the patterning of that parent. And then we either fight against it inside of ourselves, or we can be filled with grief and sorrow as we long for a parent that's departed, and we feel what I spoke about earlier, that sense of inadequacy. I can't measure up to who they were, or I'm failing them, or I'm letting them down. We carry the weight of the world on our shoulders when we hold loyalty to being more like them or less like them. It doesn't matter which way round it goes. Allow yourself to step into the fullest, most whole version of you that you ever could imagine. Imagine you stepping out of that lineage. And no, this is not disloyal. This is an act of love. Step right out of that lineage. So imagine or feel, either one is good. Millions behind you. And then imagine you step out from the crowd and you say, okay, I'll do it. I'll be the fullest version of me. I'm not abandoning them. I'm doing this in front of them. I'm being the fullest version of me. I'm becoming loyal to my soul, to my truth. And that's another lineage that I want to show you now. The one lineage that you've got is what we call the ancestral lineage. That's the direct family tree, the direct family line. But you also have a vertical line going upwards. That's your soul lineage. If you can get into soul lineage, which basically means your connection to God, because what is your soul? Your soul is that part of you that is directly connected to God and animates you. You are an expression of your soul. If you come into that vertical alignment, the horizontal alignment begins to amend. In other words, as you come into higher alignment with your soul and you step into the wholeness, that ripples into the whole family. And you get it then. You say, I'm not here to fix them. I'm not. No wonder I was feeling a sense of burden, heavy responsibility, either to not be like them or to be more like them. It's because I'm meant to be more like me. And when I do that, I serve myself and I ripple that healing into the longest line of ancestors imaginable. You are the one that populated this world right now as we come close to the ascension window. The ascension window is wide open. People always say, when's ascension going to happen? If you've watched my videos long enough, you know the answer. It happens when it happens. Tomorrow, 10 years' time, it's irrelevant, honestly. What is relevant is you're in the ascension journey now. Don't look at that final line as the deadline. Look at where you are right now as the living legacy that you've come to embody, and it's the soul legacy. You bring that in, you ripple it out, and the ones behind you, in other words, the ancestors behind you, sigh of relief. And the ones in front of you, so let's just say now that you have children, maybe even grandchildren, they breathe that same exhale of relief. Who is it that is here to clear the ancestral line, the one who holds the highest resonance, usually? Sometimes this can be shared by multiple members of the family, but very often it's the one in the family who holds the highest resonance. And who is that? It's normally the black sheep. Is that you? Let me know in the comments below. Black sheep, baby, here I am. Are you the same? And if you are, wear that with pride and know this. There is a flock of black sheep doing this at the same time as you. We're the new cool, baby. The black sheep are stepping into their power and understanding why they didn't fit in and why they were always so damn different no matter what they did. They were here to break the mold. You see what ancestral healing is? It's breaking the chain. It's breaking the mold. It's breaking the karmic patterning. It's breaking the loyalty to the past, because no matter how that relationship was with your parents and grandparents and so forth, no matter how those relationships were, you were carrying their distortions inside of you. So much of what you thought and felt, so much of your emotional response was simply carried down and handed to you. Here you go. This is your mold. This is your imprint, and you answered to it. And sometimes you hated it, and sometimes you rebelled against it, and sometimes your family saw you breaking those patterns. And because of their loyalty to the patterns, they wanted to stop you from carrying out that healing many, many years ago. That's when you became the black sheep. That's when you became the stranger in the mists of the family, right? So what you're doing right now is learning to be the fullest, highest version of you, even if that means you're owning the black sheep title, right? What about that for a t-shirt? Black sheep, baby. I love what we're doing. I love where we're going. We're learning as individuals, and therefore as a collective of light workers. We are finally learning that the power rests within us. The power rests within you. So here it is. In many of my videos, especially the more recent ones, I've been bringing you at the very end a little activation. It's going to be a little one, but here it is. You ready? You're a spell breaker. And sometimes to be the breaker of spells, the breaker of all the distortion that your family's been holding, that's been responsible for so much family pain. Sometimes being that person will make you feel responsible, heavy and burdened, long before your time and long before you can ever understand why you're holding those feelings. Be free today and know that this is not a burden. You're not responsible for them, but you are responsible to be the highest, fullest, truest version of you. From my heart. All the way into yours. So much love. Come on over to my website, kerryk.com. I'm starting out the most beautiful upcoming course. It's called Forever Starts Now. It starts on the 7th of April, and if you're watching this, maybe at the completion, maybe 6 months or a year after we've already done the course, go watch the replay because I'll put it up in the shop afterwards. Forever Starts Now is very much about stepping into the fullest version of you. I'd love to see you there, and it's an honor, light workers, walking beside you as we walk this leg of the journey into the fullest expression of who we are, losing the burden that we've been carrying. Bye-bye for now.